Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, back with some more digital marketing advice. Now, in today's video, I want to answer a question. We're talking Google Ads again, and the question I'm going to answer is, are Google Ads expensive? So I've seen lots of people ask this question online. They want to know, are Google Ads expensive? Are they too expensive? Are they a bad deal? Are they a rip-off? Or what's the deal? So long story short, you need to shift your attitude or mindset, in my view, when it comes to looking at something like Google Ads, away from necessarily what the cost is and more towards what the return on investment is and the potential value. So, with Google Ads, just to make sure we're all on the same page, the way it works is, as a rule, if you're doing standard search advertising, you're bidding on keywords you want to show up on. Users are typing in their searches, and you can then basically specify what you want to pay per click. Now, obviously, the platform's evolved quite a bit beyond that. There's other things like display advertising and video ads and shopping ads and app installs, and there's different bidding types and all that sort of stuff. But the fundamentals of the platform are really simple. And as far as thinking of whether or not Google Ads are expensive, what you first want to understand with the platform is that you can set your own budget. So if you are budget limited, you can still come in and set a budget. So if you've got $100 a month to spend or $1,000 a month to spend, you can set that budget, and Google won't go over that. If they do go over that, they credit the money back. There's some weird stuff that goes on with their ability to spend up to 2 times your daily budget, but now there's monthly budget features being added as well. But long story short, you can control the budget. So if the budget scares you, do understand that you can set your own budget. Obviously, depending on what it is you're trying to promote and where, you've got to be realistic with your budget. So if you are wanting to serve all of New Zealand, and you've only got a budget of $50 a month and you're selling shoes, you're probably not going to get very far. But perhaps you've got $150, $200 a month, and you want to advertise a local service business in a very specific area in a town. You might be able to do a really, really good job of advertising with Google Ads for that budget. So if you're thinking Google Ads are going to be too expensive because they're just going to blow you out of the water price-wise, well, just remember that you can set your budget. Now, the second piece is the costs you pay per click. And this is where you've got to, adjust your thinking or get into the right mindset, as I mentioned earlier. So the cost per click will depend on a few factors, competition, what you're willing to pay, what competitors are willing to pay. But long story short, I think the most important thing is to look beyond just the cost per click and look at what you can get out return on investment wise. So if we look at an industry like insurance, for example, there's really high costs per click. They can be into $20, $30, $40. I mean, some of the costs per click that are out there on Google Ads can be pretty insane. But what you've got to do is sit there and think, well, hang on, these companies, insurance companies, for example, that are running these Google Ads, that's very expensive clicks. I'm sure we can all agree that. But expensive and value are two different things. Or expense or cost and value are two different things, I should say. And if you think about it this way, would big insurance companies with sophisticated marketing departments and number crunchers on the team and all those kind of things, would they sit there and pay these big click costs if they weren't getting a return out of the advertising at some point or another? And the truth is, no, they probably wouldn't. And that's what you really have to understand, I think, with Google Ads is, yes, the clicks can be quite expensive, but if you set your business up and your marketing funnel, as it were, up in the right way, well, then you can actually get a really good return out of the platform. So maybe you have to spend $5 or $10 a click, but if that, on average, that $10 click is turning into $50 or $100 worth of business because you've got a good customer lifetime value, you've got a really compelling offer, well, it's actually a great deal. Think about if you were walking down the street and you came across a machine, like a sort of ATM type machine, and you put $1 in and then $5 came out every single time, or over an average span, $5 was coming out for every dollar you put in. A bit like a sort of slot machine that works in your favor. Well, would you keep putting the money in? Of course you would. And I think the same thing applies with Google Ads. So do consider that. The click costs are one thing, but if you are able to use the platform to your advantage and actually get a good return on investment, then ultimately the click costs shouldn't matter too much. Now, obviously, the more expensive the clicks, depending on your industry and competition, the more diligent and careful you have to be as far as how you actually run your ads, because you might be an upstart competitor in an industry where there's lots of established businesses who've got well-proven marketing funnels and systems in place, and if you come and jump in the fray and start swinging your fists around without sort of knowing how the game works, you could get in a whole lot of trouble because you might burn through your money really quick and not see results. So there is no guarantee of results with Google Ads, but I think the most important thing, if you're wondering whether or not they are expensive, is to shift your mindset away from just looking at the cost and looking at the ROI. Obviously, if you're not getting a positive ROI, whether that's upfront or when you factor in, sort of multi-channel analysis and whether or not Google Ads are influencing people in other areas to buy from you, well, if that's not working, then you need to revisit what you're doing. But ultimately, if you pay $5 a click and that $5 turns into $20 or $50 or $100, hey, that's a pretty good deal to me. So if you're stuck with this, if you do want some more help with Google Ads or any other kind of online advertising, feel free to email me, info@samfrost.co.nz. Feel free to message me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe.